Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you a story about my parrotlets. I like this story because it is going to tell you whether parrotlets have personalities and preferences, in case you were curious, whether parrotlets fall in love, in case you were curious, because they definitely do bond. Now, I will start by saying that I'm really thrilled that this myth that parrotlets should be kept alone seems to really be shifting, because I think that's a terrible myth. Parrotlets, being such small little birds, they really kind of rely on their numbers for safety and security. They rely on each other for warmth, for companionship, and certainly for helping each other preen those feathers that they can't quite reach. So I actually think it's really important for parrotlets to have at least a flock of one other mate. And I always have my parrotlets that aren't breeding in a flock with several different parrotlets. As a matter of fact, that takes me to my story, but first I'll introduce myself. Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of the Parrot Bliss Bond. I have over 22 species of parrots. I love my parrots, and my mission is to help you have a more blissful bond with your parrot. Whether you have what I call a teeny or a big macaw, I've had both, I love all my parrots. Okay, this here is Dawn, and Dawn is going to start the story this way. I have a parrot lifestyle. This means that I like to take my parrots to different places with me, depending on where I go. Let's see if Jewel will let me. Come here, Jewel. Good girl. You want to get off my head? Thanks, Jewel. Thanks for the hairdo. Okay, I like to take my birds places with me, and because I do, I was at a grocery store and I had one of the workers approach me and say, hey, I know you have birds. I've seen you here with your birds. My son has 2 parrotlets, but they're really nippy. Can I give them to you? And I'm like, sure. Because sometimes I do receive parrots. I'm not a real rescue, in the sense that I am not open for anyone to bring or surrender their bird to me, but if there's a bird that I feel will fit in my flock and that'll work out, sure, I'll take them. So I therefore adopted, or was given, Dawn and Mama. Now Dawn and Mama were both 2 parrotlets, both females. And what I did with them is I very quickly, once I observed them, I decided that they were fine. I got them through their quarantine period. Then, what are you doing, Jewel? Why are you biting me? Don't bite me. Yeah, don't bite me. I then added 4 of my parrotlets to their cage so that my parrotlets could, number 1, make sure that the girls didn't get aggressive with like only one of mine or only 2 of mine. With 4, they outnumbered the new birds, but that means that they're going to tell the new birds, this is kind of how things are here. This is how you're supposed to behave. It's all good, actually, You're going to get fresh food, you want to eat that. You're going to get pellets, you want to eat that. We'll get some seeds sometimes too, the parakeet seeds, which are what our caregiver, that's me, thinks is what's best based on the observations and the research she's done, and you're all good. And sure enough, the 2 took to my 4, and actually Mama found herself a boyfriend like that, and now she is one of my breeding pairs. So that left Dawn. I put Dawn eventually in with more of my parrotlets into an aviary where there are about 10 parrotlets. And she is obviously at home there. In other words, she's eating fine, she's doing fine, no fights, no problems at all, but she was always alone. This went on for months. Alone, sort of in the corner, or sort of, over there where there weren't any other parrotlets. Some of the parrotlets are bonded, they have a best friend, whether it's male or female. Are you talking to me, Jewel? And that's fine. It's like the nice thing about having a group of about 10, when you have a big enough space, because you certainly can't do that in a small cage. You have to have a big enough cage, and then I like to have multiple feeders so that there's no competition. Just like there is in the wild. Plenty of space, plenty of food. Then that allows parrots or parrotlets to come together with their best friend, their bonded companion, or not. And I do have a couple that don't, they're like humans. Some of them are sort of loners. And so Dawn seemed to be a loner. But my daughter, who is my parrot whisperer, was like, Mom, I think Dawn wants to come out and maybe hang out with us. And sure enough, she loves hanging out with me. She loves being on my shoulder. That's great. I'm like, I have a new little buddy. Okay. Now, next what happened is enter Jewel and Sky. I had another person contact me and say that he loves his parrotlets, that Sky was already on his at least third home, 9-year-old parrotlet, and so he didn't want to relinquish his parrotlet somewhere where they might get rehomed again. He wanted to see if I would take them and if I would keep them so that they would have a home. And he said Jewel here, he got as a companion for Sky last November. He did a little bit of the feeding for her, so he's really bonded to her, but she bites. She is going through that little bitey phase. Oh my, what are you doing? And, but they're bonded. He was having these severe allergic reactions to them. He tried to clean everything, start over, and it seems like it really was the parrotlets, the birds. So that's kind of rare. I don't really usually hear about that. Sweetie, don't bite so much. No. If you're gonna bite, you're not gonna get to stay on my finger, are you? Yeah. If you bite, your branch is not gonna be nice and steady. You wanna try again? Okay. Yeah, I don't like you on my head. Come here. Come here. So I did take Sky and Jewel in. After giving them some time to adjust and making sure that they were healthy, I put them with Dawn and some of my new babies. Be nice, otherwise your perch is gonna move. You ready? You're gonna cause an earthquake. Earthquake! Oh no! Oh no! So what was really fascinating is that, actually initially I think Dawn was next to them. Hey, And it was obvious that Sky, the male, the 9-year-old male, was really interested in not Jewel, but Dawn. Why? Because Jewel is a mighty young little thing full of too much energy. And Dawn, on the other hand, is more his speed. They have more in common because, like humans, they are, at more of a developmental similar age. They're simply the same basic age, not a real young parrotlet. So we saw Sky kind of dancing around, squeaking at her, doing all sorts of things like that. And we were like, it seems like Sky wants to be with Dawn. We put them together, and Sky was so happy. He's looking at Dawn. He's trying to feed her. And Dawn is like, I'm fine here. There's food, there's water, I'm good. What's this? But persistence is an amazing thing, and it paid off. Now, Sky and Dawn are bonded. This has been so heartwarming to see, because the thing is, Dawn has gone from being that bird that was all alone, sort of that loner, to being, having her mate. They feed each other, they preen each other. It's like, how fulfilling, how sweet. There is nothing better than watching my parrotlets be happy and in love. And I would have Sky here, but, Jewel's the one that flew on me. So I just really love this, because it goes to show that parrotlets register more than just being alone, being fine with being alone. They register more than just any companion. They do want someone who matches them somehow, and they do prefer someone their own age. And when they have the right mate, they can be really happy. Now, if you only have one parrotlet and you're looking for a second parrotlet, I've had people, tell me that that's their situation. Should you get 9 parrotlets so that your parrotlet can find its mate? No, of course not. That's not what I'm saying. You get one and you hope for the best, and you watch them. You don't just put them in together. You make sure that they're both nice and healthy, that there's no issues. And then you start to introduce them to make sure that they're going to like each other. And you can't do that on someone's territory, right? You can't add a parrotlet to another parrotlet's cage because that belongs to the first person. Kind of like a marriage, the way most marriages, like traditionally for first-time marriages, you know, the village would build them a new house together. So the house was the couples together, not this belonged to one person, now the second person's joining. It's a lot easier when it's something that both belongs to both. And it's just so true for parrotlets or parrots in general as well. So, like I said, it's just been really heartwarming. And so if you do that, make sure you get a cage that is either new to both of them, or clean the cage out, take everything out, move the position of the cage, because they don't really necessarily recognize the cage itself, but they'll recognize the perches, the perch locations where the food is. If you change everything up and you put the cage in a new location and you have it nice and clean, it's basically like a new house, kind of like one that's been flipped, right? You redid the whole inside. And now adding 2 new parrotlets, once you feel like they're not having any issues and they are getting along, that works really well. So, of course, my next mission is going to be, number 1, to get Jewel to come back. Come here, Jewel. Come here. And number 2, come here, sweetie. And number 2 is going to be to try to get Jewel a bonded friend, whether it's male or female. It doesn't matter to me. I just want her to have her best friend, so that she has someone to sit right next to and preen and be preened by and loved and matter to. Because just like us, mattering, being loved, being well taken care of, having a clean cage, good clean food, fresh vegetables, fresh water every day makes all the difference to your parrot's well-being. And as I like to say, a happy and healthy parrot is far more able to, likely to, willing to, and wanting to bond with you as well, even when you have 2 parrotlets or 10. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to put them below. If Jewel comes back, please give Jewel, Dawn, and I one of these. And if you want to check out my books, visit Amazon. If you want to find out about getting a baby parrotlet from me, visit parrotbliss.com/available-parrots, and I will catch you in the next feathered video.